adventure that lasted longer than I thought Nika Noel sort of scouted me off of Twitter, and I thought she was going to pay me like $4,000 to do a movie that would be written around me, a girl movie. And I was working as a model in New York at the time. I was just modeling and kind of whiling away the time. And I really thought, oh, I'll go do this one thing. It'll be a funny story. It's girl, so it's not really gonna. I knew I'm not gonna run for president or anything anyway. And then I hit up all my writing friends. I was like, do you think this would be a problem? And everyone's like, well, one, as a writer, you can just make up an identity, and then two, in this market, anything you can do to like get yourself involved in a scandal will actually probably help you get published. So with the blessing of my friends, like I consulted my counsel, and they all were like, go fucking do it, go have a good time, and go, backpack around Europe and come back and write your fucking novel. And it'll just be a funny story about something you did. And then, but I was like, made it exclusive. So I was in a contract girl, but I was exclusive to them. And then she moved to another company. I became the face of a company. I was paid $1,000 a scene for Girl, which was like way above the going rate. The current rate for Girl now, I think the standard is about $700. I was getting paid $1,000 per scene. I was the face of a company. I did Girl only for 4 years. Last year I did Boy Girl because I felt like it. I did like a big showcase movie. I was incredibly lucky. I came to the table with a lot. I had a director tell me one time just that. He said, you came in with, you're a very dynamic person. You came in with a lot of fuel, to a lot of smarts to do this. So part of, I guess what I'm trying to say is part of it is luck. Like I was a conventionally attractive white girl with an education, and that happened to be lucky enough to get like a Dana Vespoli and a Raylene and a Michael Bisco and like these people that came in and were like, we're going to tell you all the ins and outs and how to, I was incredibly lucky. Like I started with like a deck that was fully stacked, you know what I mean? In my favor.
Yeah.
And then what happened was that Twitter existed, but it's like porn and Twitter and social media like really kind of found, because Instagram would kick you off, Facebook would kick you off, but Twitter would let you do whatever you wanted. And that allowed me to have, I'm very smart. And so I'd be typing about Foucault, and then I'd be tweeting pictures of me on set. And that was a combination that really worked. At that moment in time, it really kind of clicked in with a lot of shit. When I came in 2011, they were talking about feminist porn and the popularity of romance porn, all this stuff. And we had this thing, Keep Porn Alive. And there was like this group of us that kind of viewed what we were doing as activism in a way. Like that because we had choices and because we were choosing to be here, and a lot of us were making our own content, and we would go on Twitter and we would be smart. We wouldn't play the role of a dumb bimbo. Like that was kind of, at that moment, that was like a very crucial kind of shift that happened. And I think that's what's enabled me to cross over in the way that I have. Like I was just featuring for Marc Maron like 2 weekends ago, and there was a moment where I was just sitting backstage in the green room, and I was like, this is so crazy. And then I'd come from that. The day before, I'd done 2 guest lectures at USC. And and I'm doing like a Patreon video, and the dean of the Annenberg School at USC is like, I'm asking her to be in it to talk about like labor law and the creative artists. And I was telling her when I was interviewing her for my podcast, I was like, when I was in college, not that long ago, but when I was there, like if a porn star had come to my school, they wouldn't have let a porn star in my school to speak in any kind of way about like anything other than a warning.
Unless it was a cautionary tale.
Or unless it was my alma mater, Bard College, where when the Women Against Pornography showed up to demonstrate on our campus, we showed a Cherry's Jubilee, I think Magnolia. It was a 1970. We showed a hardcore 1970s porn flick for them to enjoy. I mean, I want to touch on the feminist porn in a second, but, now it can be argued that with Stormy Daniels in the headlines, the porn star that Donald Trump got sloppy thousands from and had his bagman Michael Cohen pay 6 figures to cover it up, it can be argued that 2018 is very much the year of the porn star. I mean, with the left, interestingly enough, exhibiting all the moral outrage usually reserved for the religious right on this matter. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here and argue that conservative white male Christians in name only represent the majority of men in America who frequent prostitutes and fall asleep watching porn tube on a nightly basis. Am I right?
You would be correct.
Am I right?
And the highest click-through rate on spamming for porn, the highest click-through rate is on Christian men. Christian men will click through the fastest to porn and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Just like interracial porn is still the most popular in the Deep South.
That's it. And that's why they can get behind a guy, a dog, like Trump.
Yeah.
You know, but you see, his crime is not in what he did.
Well, I mean,
his crime is paying to try and hush the story up, but more than using campaign funds and all that. But how about, Mr. President? How about owning it? How about not lying?
But I've told people, I was like, the least annoying thing that Donald Trump has done is paid a sex worker.
Right.
I was like, I'm gonna have to vote for him pretty soon if this keeps up. Like, if more and more women keep coming out that were paid money, well, I'm gonna have to turn that ship around, because I want my girls to get their fucking paper. I want them to secure the fucking bag. Because all the Stormy Daniels story is that he paid a sex worker, and I'm like, well, now I have to kind of be on his side. Like, she got paid, man. Like, I don't. But I mean, at the end of the day, all of this moralizing, because this is the least interesting story. It's like, so he fucked a porn star, when all men want to fuck porn stars because it's the lure of the strange. It's for the experience, if nothing else, for the experience alone of being able to say that they did it. And she fucked him for the same reason. Someone's like, that she's disgusting. I'm like, I would have fucked him, and I'll tell you why. Not now, but I would have too, and for the same reason that she said, which is, well, like, he's interesting. It's like, I think I probably, if a man like that was kind of like this sort of eccentric whatever, had expressed like a romantic interest in me, I wouldn't have been his girlfriend, but I probably also would have been like, fuck it. I mean, life's short. Like if you know what I mean. If some like just crazy, like if a Charlie Sheen type approached me or something, of course I'd go on a date with him just for the like experience of like, right. Oh, I went on a date with Charlie Sheen, that guy that's nuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you used an interesting term there, allure of the strange.
Yeah.
I like that because, when I think about, the few times that I've, gone on Backpage before I was married and all that, and what I loved about hiring somebody off that kind of platform was the allure of the strange, just like you said. In other words, I didn't know who or what, for that matter. Right. Is it going to be Buck Angel or is it going to be, Sasha Grey coming over tonight?
I'm just thinking the old 60s, 70s commercial for the board game Mystery Date.
Well, that's
Will she be a dream? Ooh, or a dud.
But for a sexual person, in the end, it doesn't matter.
I kind of escorted once, which was, I ended up not having sex with a person. But a member of a royal family paid to fly me to Europe to end up sitting and debating with me the causes of the French Revolution. And we didn't sleep together, but why did I say yes? Because I was like, of course I will. Oh, does a royal want to? Sure. Does a member of a royal family want to? Of course I'm gonna fucking go. Why? Yeah. Why wouldn't I? And there was, and part of it was the adrenaline of this is. I mean, I guess this is illegal, but it was the allure of the strange. Sure. It was just kind of like when sometimes these opportunities come and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking go. Of course.
Did a madam broker that for you, or were you, or?
It wasn't a mad there. Well, and I had someone else try to. There was a legendary rock band, but they're very old now. It was the same person hit me up and was like, "Hey, this group is a very big fan of yours and wants to know if you'll." And I was like, I got my limits. It's a little too long in the tooth for me, man. I can't do it. But I don't know if you call it a madam. It's more just someone that kind of acts as a liaison, kind of between, I guess, someone that has that sort of, that celebrities know, can kind of get the porn girls that they, might be interested in. But it's still but not a madam in the sense that I mean, they still. Because, and those are the kind of the only two queries that I got. But it's I'll get these, I'd get hey, got your number from so-and-so, was just wondering if you do private engagements. I remember the first time I was like, what does that mean? I was like what?
Well, you know,
like, do you do meet and greets?
And I really want to ask you though, Sovereign, you know, porn stars, you were talking about the money they make for a scene, you know, whereas someone could make $500-700, you could make $1,000. That's pretty good. But in addition to, you know, being a porn star, their road work is featured dancers on the circuit selling off their lingerie for hundreds. Yeah, I mean, they also do dates. Or what do they call it? Doing singles or privates or something like that, where you can shoot your own scene and there's no film in the camera, but it kind of helps with the law.
I think it just depends. I think it's like they're called privates generally in the industry. Like, do you do privates? You see like private and, you know, I mean, it's all the legal technical jargon. I mean, I'm more kind of, I mean, it's really interesting that sex can be like, if you think about like involvement of the state into your body, it's like you can have sex, but the minute that you charge for it, now it's a crime. It's very, like, to me, just on its face, it's very bizarre. You know, like I can go mow your lawn, and if I charge you for that, that's legal. But like, you know what I mean? It's like it's very kind of like it's so bizarre to me.
I want to say it's Patrick Keane, but a comedian who local guy I used to do shows with had a bit about, you know, what the criminal penalties are for prostitution versus the criminal penalties for filming without a permit in LA. So he's like, you know, the thing is, if you're going to hook up with a prostitute in your car, put a camera on, you're not hooking up with a prostitute. You're shooting a porn without a permit.
Right. Yeah.
Well, there's a dark side there too. There was a guy, my PI partner at the time, found a bunch of kiddie porn on the guy's computer. Right. So I ended up putting him as in a book I was writing called 6 Degrees of Paris Hilton. I put him in a chapter there. Speaking of, by the way, Saudi royalty and weekends over there, you know, she could pull down like $50,000 on a weekend. You know, she could have a client in Beverly Hills, some doctor, you know, who's, you know, paying $50,000 for a Saturday night. Who can blame her? But anyway, my point about this was that guy was into child porn, and I exposed him. And when the book, Simon & Schuster, my publisher, excised that chapter, I put it up on my website as a bonus chapter. And that guy, when he got out of prison in Cuba, where he got caught trying to do kiddie porn down there, came back to the States and tried to sue me. And he put some Armenian slip and fall lawyers on my ass, and they just hammered me. And I'm filing motions, and it's getting really expensive to beat this guy at his own game. I mean, I went to the FBI, everything else. That's where I learned about Estonia. That's why I learned that they weren't going to go after him, and he was free to sue me, and blah, blah, blah. And when, you know, but what he did was, what he's doing now, because I keep my eye on guys like that. Yeah. I may not, as a result of how I settled with this guy, no fault, no, you know, in other words, I won. But in other words, I wasn't going to write about this motherfucker again. What he does now is he basically middlemans those privates. And he has a camera, and he has a loft downtown, and I really want to say his name, but I won't, because he's going down sooner or later. I will. And what he does is he gets these girls from the adult entertainment industry, and I'll tell you, the producers that I know in that business that I do PI work for, they want to see him go down, because what he's doing is he's poaching from their talent pool. Okay, that's, you know, it happens in the business, just like Hollywood, right? But then he gets them strung out on OxyContin. You know, he gets them way strung out. He keeps them basically as slaves. And, you know, he's basically pimping them to do these privates, and it's not fun anymore. And when they get useless and their teeth fall out, he kicks them to the curb and he's done with them. This is how, you know, and that's how dark it gets, you know, in my mind.
And all of that comes from, I tweeted this, I have to go my meter, but like the biggest harm reduction that we can do for everybody is reducing the stigma around sex work, because the number one thing that keeps girls from being able to get future employment, from being connected to their families. It's like they lose contact with their families. People won't employ them. Like, even for me, if I went to go work at Starbucks, the minute someone recognizes me, it's a problem, because now my boss thinks he can show me his dick, or maybe other customers think this, or maybe other coworkers are uncomfortable now with my. So, the biggest thing that keeps women in vulnerable situations